So critical. First ban, same for RNG. And Twitch also banned out from SKT. It's looking like we're going to see a very similar ban phase.
At the very least, SKT doing it in a different order, so now we get to see if they're going to play the same style. There's the Lucian ban as well, looking to now pitch Woosh's champion pool. All he's played all tournament long is Twitch, Lucian, Sivir. No Ezreal, no Caitlyn, nothing else.
He has a Jhin.
Oh, he's a Jhin
One
game,
Jhin
you're right,
game.
one Jhin game.
And it was against SKT. And
Yeah.
I think that Jhin is a good pick against SKT because they don't go aggressive. They kite back against it. And Jhin is just able to sit back and actually initiate team fights for this RNG lineup. He joins very late into the team fights.
Now the exact same plan coming out of the Chinese squad. Royal never give up. Same 3 bans, same order. SKT have already added a new ban in Lucian, which means they have to drop one of Azir or Ryze.
Yeah, which will change the dynamic of team fights. So they've taken out the earliest pressure jungler, but we're going to be going for some big team fights. And the question we also have here is, you can trade Azir and Ryze theoretically, unless RNG thinks one champion is just head and shoulders above the other. And apparently that's Ryze for Xiaohu.
Well, it depends what style you want to play. If you want a team fight, I agree with you. Trade them as much as you want to. You want to open up the map. You want to play 1-3-1. Faker cannot take teleport. Like, Ryze just needs setup time. It just doesn't suit his playstyle as well, at all. It's more of a 1-1-3 with people rotating into the Azir lane, if that is how you want to play it. So I just think that with how Game 1 played out, Ryze is a much better pick for RNG's current strategy than what Azir ever would be.
And no surprise here, SKT taking an early round Sivir pick with lines up with their ban strategy. The Azir still coming through, though, so not trying to show off anything new, realizing that Poppy for Trundle wasn't exactly the best trade. And nothing else really required, as Kindred and Graves are a pretty easy trade too.
I do feel like, however, right now RNG do have to prioritize the Kindred because there is just so much control in AoE out of this SKT lineup that if you gave them Kindred as well, it would be way too strong.
I agree with that. And here, Kindred, I do think, is a little bit ahead of Graves on the current patch, although you can have fantastic Graves games as MLXD has had. So really, this entire early bit of the draft phase has just been power picks so far.
Ooh, look at this, actually changing the strategy up, Elise coming through. They don't want any of those highly contested marksman junglers.
Graves.
They're changing the style.
They need initiation. I mean, if Wolf's going to play Soraka all series and you're going to run Azir, he can't be a primary initiator. They have to have some way to generate CC. Graves doesn't give you that at all.
Which they didn't have last game. They didn't have a way of generating CC aside from Faker trying to go in and solo people, which he did 6 times, but it wasn't enough to win the game. And I actually have seen Elise used as a fairly effective pick against Kindred, because if Kindred doesn't go Mercury Treads or have an early QSS, it's a good burst window to take her down, to take them down on Kindred, and it's a possible road to success.
It's also that you can invade Graves, and unless he kills you, kind of get away from it. You really can't ever invade an Elise if you don't have vision. I mean, the ability to just zero out a champion early on in the game is nearly unrivaled.
Whoa.
Ooh, top
They're putting
lane
Ryze
with Callista LeBlanc. Changing things up.
Wow.
Looper again saying, yeah, I know what the top lane meta is. I don't really care.
And he's like, I don't care if I play into Poppy, and he doesn't think Duke has something else that could be good against it. And the thing is here, like, SKT gets to react to this and still have a counterpick. I do have to credit SKT for saving their top laners so they can't get counterpicked again, but they're also, it's been a while since they've had to go up against a Ryze.
In the top lane, yeah, I imagine it's been a while for them here.
What?
And
30 seconds ticking down for Wolf to decide.
One thing that people, I guess, Ryze does a lot of damage, right? But in top lane, it's such a longer lane that the CC starts becoming like even more critical. I mean, if you give MLXG half a lane to chase down Poppy, even if the Ryze does no damage, MLXG will kill him.
But also, if you give Elise a stun target and Ryze is pushed too far up, they can chain their CC and kill him the same way. So this will be a jungle-heavy focus on the lane. And last game, MLXG was able to come out ahead, but the early ganking of Elise can also be incredibly potent.
And once again, Xiaohu is hovering teleport on your screen. This time, I expect him to commit, because Ryze is a very easy dive target in the early game, and you need some form of reaction.
Extra protection.
That can come in the form of that teleport.
And keep in mind, for Callista Braum to do well against this Sivir Soraka, they've actually got to get in there, get the Ren stacks and dodge forward, so that team might need to reinforce the 2-on-2. Either of these side lanes could be easy points of attention here. As the picks and bans are done, the swaps come through. You see them on the screen there. Nice LED play mat for all the players. Definitely pretty cool.
Wicked stage we have here.
Yep. Mid-season Invitational 2016 semifinals. Game 1 went to China's Royal Never Give Up. Korea's SK Telecom T1 looking to turn this best-of-5 around. And as the coaches shake hands, you at home know what this is about. Hashtag RNG win, hashtag SKT win. RNG will be blue every single game. SKT chose to be red on their sides, their choices as well. They won't switch sides, but maybe they'll switch wins.
And you know, guys, don't be scared to jump on the RNG Hive train now. We've already seen them win once.
Yeah?
Could be more.
I mean, everyone in the stadium right now is on the RNG hype train. I have not seen this venue more packed than I have right now. And it's a Friday, so it's not even the weekend yet. All these guys are here in the middle of the afternoon to watch this team, and the 1-0 start is super promising for their chances. But I'm just so excited about this game coming up right now. We get to see another new top lane pick for the tournament with Looper's Rise, and we get to see SKT with a very strong mid lane AD carry duo that they power picked early, but still questionable initiation for them. I can't wait to see how this plays out.
And I really must stress that RNG was one of the last teams to adapt to the top lane meta. They should be very comfortable playing Mages top. I mean, along with WE, they were still playing the Lissandra later into the, season. They were also playing the Quinn a lot as well. So this is something that the team, even though they haven't played at this tournament, very practiced at.
And this is also another thing that I thought we would see more of coming into this tournament. I actually expected to see it from Darshan, because we knew Maokai was S tier. Echo weren't 100% sure about his power level, but it's still very high. But beyond that, those Poppy nerfs were big. And I actually thought that you'd have the window to do other potential carry top laners coming to the top lane. But then as the group stage proceeded, I thought, I guess not. I guess these guys are totally committed to the tourney meta. But in the time off, RNG is attacking that champion pool in the top lane and trying to come up with new stuff.
And it's why we love best of fives. Best of one, sure, that's a huge risk to take. Best of five, do it again. If it doesn't work out, throw this strategy out the window, go back to standard.
We're going to see as the standard situation is, it's going to be a lane swap here. Duke leashing in for his jungler Blank. Similar situation now as Looper is kind of hovering around the top side of the map. Actually, no one's around him.
And Looper knew this was kind of going to be a lane swap. He went up there to see if he could get CS. However, with Mana Crystal and Turret Gold, you do get tier. So you can start stacking relatively early. It doesn't hurt Rise as much as it used to hurt him.
Yeah, not starting with the double jungle, though, is non-ideal for RNG. Last game, they had a tremendous start because SKT was forced to teleport to get into their optimal start. This time, Looper very slow on the help of MLXG, which means MLXG had to take a lot of damage, and Looper was unable to share experience on any of the early camps.
He starts to share a little bit now, and look at this in the mid lane. Xiaohu pushed around a bit by Faker. It's worth noting, Bang actually got to take Krugs and didn't miss any CS in the top lane, so he's actually on a perfect trajectory so far. Xiaohu's still getting poked around. Nice play by Faker. Mid lane, very, very tight.
And Faker has a combat summoner, so he should be treated as a person that can now win this lane. He has the exhaust if Xiaohu ever does go aggressive, so they definitely have to respect that. And in typical RNG fashion, we have a swap back.
Yes, we do. Wow, yeah, they push the wave in, and right away they want the Kalista to play against the Sivir.
Wow.
He got boots of speed and still stayed on the one potion.
And Elise walked away. Duke is recalling because they see the Rise solo in the lane. They're electing to stay.
They don't want this to happen. They don't want to give any extra experience to Looper after what happened last game. They want to make sure
again.
Duke is staying. But yeah, Duke early teleports down to just match the Rise 1v1. I know Crepo and Deficio have a very defined way of the way they want lane swaps to work. This is much different, but it's all about the experience on the top laners trying to be the priority.
Well, right now they're both level 2 and barely that. There's some more minions on the field for Looper to kill. Also, this lane will freeze. The way RNG have manipulated the waves, Looper can hide under his turret and make Duke overextend to fight for CS.
And they have double teleport advantage.
Yeah.
If they ever do reverse it, top lane is a huge ganking.
Yeah, and we talk about the Sivir Soraka wanting to shove in because they can get a bunch of health and mana generation from Spell Shield and Soraka heals. They're not allowed to do that anymore because they're down 2 teleports if they ever overextend.
Look at this whoosh coming in. Nice little rend right there. Damage onto Wolf that he can't recover easily.
It gives RNG complete freedom to play as aggressive as they want in this lane.
And beyond that, all of a sudden Blank cannot look proactive. He has to be the reactive jungle. You ever a first person in on this gank, teleport can come anywhere on the map. You know, the waves are already against you. You can't set up turret dives. Like, Blank now has to play reactive style League of Legends, and we know MLXG wants to be proactive.
And because of all these reasons, I completely disagree with SKT's decision to teleport Duke down into the bottom lane. I think they should have allowed RNG to swap back. They should have punished with 4 people in the lane to get the gank off, as the standard punish could be, because they had the people in position to do so if they wanted to cut that off, but they decided not to try. They made the safe, non-risky play, which opted into a minor disadvantage, and I think that's a mistake.
Because the biggest thing, right, is Ryze shoves in that lane. It's bouncing back. If you even threaten the dive, Ryze has to teleport, because otherwise you just go for it. Then Ryze is burning his teleport. All of a sudden, Duke walks back to his lane, and you're on completely even footing. It's just, as far as standard lane swap goes, RNG bucked the trend, but SKT's response was not the right one.
I think SKT fumbled, but I also think it's rooted in their philosophy coming into this tournament where they're not willing to take those risks. SKT hasn't picked initiation in hardly any of their team compositions, and they haven't really done any turret diving in the early game. So RNG was playing to those tendencies or just doing what they're used to doing in the LPL. Either way, it worked. Look at that gold lead.
And right now is the first potential risk right there. The bot lane, the one-on-one down there, Ryze versus Poppy. The wave had just pushed back out, and that river was pink warded. There was no vision for Looper at all, but no one came down to punish this. He was able to kill a pink ward, shoving in a wave with no concern for Blank at all. And Elise in the early game, and there's no punish at all.
Well, Duke has just picked up 8 CS. Before that, he was like 15 CS behind. If you mis-execute that gank and 5 minions die to a turret, ooh, that's nice from Faker. That's horrible for the Poppy. So, you know, even though it's a risky play, it's still pretty high percentage out of Looper to be able to push out like that.
Yeah, and Looper is actually playing incredibly risky right here. He's gone tier first and still sat on a monocrystal. Sometimes you will see the top lane Ryze go Catalyst first because it gives them a little bit more durability in the ganks. But based on the pressure advantage they have right now, he has so many wards in the river. 1 deep ward covering a jungle exit, and 1 pink ward in the lane brush. It's really hard for SKT to get in position to stop that, and he also would have Xiaohu's teleport to protect him, so that's his safety in doing the risky build. All in all, this is actually a great early game for RNG.
Yeah, it certainly is, and the last place I want to hit on is the jungle, because it has been greatly skewed. If you take something not Nidalee, Kindred, or Graves, you have a window to be stronger than them. That for Elise is levels 1 to 5 before they have their ultimates. For Lee Sin, it's on the level 6 to 9 when you have the execute presence. Right now, Blank has completely missed his window because of how the lanes have kind of been controlled and manipulated by this RNG squad.
450 gold already, the difference between MLXG and Blank, and neither of them have really even seen enemies.
Really impressive stuff. You can see the rest of these lanes close to equal. Faker, slight lead in his matchup. Well played by him. He blind picked the Azir. Counter picked by LeBlanc. Did just fine in that one. Bot lane pretty close as well. The duos 70 gold apart for the 80 carries. Not a huge problem there. But yeah, 300 gold lead now for Looper. Duke is on the receiving end of a lot of punishment.
He's going to have to teleport again against the double TP comp.
Yeah, and the question will have to be, like, where is SKT going to get their advantages?
There's the play, the deep ward, and it's going to be Mata
Teleport
looking for Wolf. There's nowhere for this guy to go. Why even burn the flash? First blood coming in for Xiao, who does miss the chain. He cast it a bit too late.
Yeah, he actually chained before his flash, so it didn't extend far enough towards Bang. That could have been a double kill if they execute a little better, but that's the teleport. The Blanc and Faker gets a minion wave. Will he try and punish as Xiao goes through? Xiao takes the safe path.
But once again, they see Duke teleport. What do? Straight away, they pull the trigger. They're going again.
Bang is alone without flash. Actually, an early Q by Mata anyway. Spell shield was still up. Either way, Bang does walk to safety. Nice attempt, but now Blank is coming. There are no flashes for the Royal duo lane.
Yeah, this could work for SKT. Bang doesn't have much damage, and maybe the 2v2 could still be one for them, but he's going to be going for this rather risky gank.
Here's the attempt.
It's hard for Bang to support this.
For the Chinese team's a big stun, and Amata gets a summoner heal and says, I have nowhere to go, but it's a turnaround by Whoosh onto Bang. Can he out damage, and a great silence comes out. Wow! They do turn it around. Wolf and Blank to save the 2-on-2.
Yeah,
beautiful silence. Yeah, it's a great timing for the gank. It was going to be close, but they were willing to take it, and the way that they were able to change the focus around and have Mata be so low at the start of the gank stopped him from being able to be safe.
Wow, flash slow from MLXG. Still wants to dive with the red spot.
Exhaust.
Oh, Wish comes through, and it's not going to be anything. MLXG pops Lamb's Respite, and he actually just gets out. Doesn't want to get outplayed by Faker, but he burns both summoners off of the SKT mid laner.
So in the end, really nice play out of MLXG. Both he and Faker burn the flash early, which I think is crucial in that gank. MLXG, if he ever wants to kill the Azir, and Faker, if he ever wants to live. But that gank in the top lane, one more time, I speak about it for Afro a lot. Blank just saved that lane. Like, he made the one risky play that they could make at that stage of the game for that lane to even remain equal, and was able to execute upon it. So that's a clutch play that you need out of SKT's jungle.
It absolutely saves the early game for them. And I also think it was RNG playing a little bit too confident. It was one of those instinct things, but I mean, Wolf just straight up walked back from base and made it back in time. So if they were paying attention to the death timers, they would have been able to avoid that. Either way, it pulls SKT even.
And Faker looking to make it more than equal. Going in for Xiaohu. One more attack will do it, and he gets it. The solo kill in the mid lane. 1-0 for Faker.
That is huge. That was with all summoners down, so he wasn't even advantaged with the exhaust right there. But I think it was Xiaohu probably staying a little bit too long in the lane. I didn't get to see the very start of that one, but that's the way SKT fights back. Blank makes a play, and Faker gets a solo kill.
And even despite that, SKT are basically only equal in gold. MLXG is heavily out farming, so is Looper. Just kind of like the last game, those are the players that the Chinese squad are using to leverage a lead. MLXG stealing the Krugs from Duke away as well, who's trying to get some jungling done as his turret's going down. We will see a turret swap overall as SKT's dual lanes on the bot side and Royals is up top. And Blank soloing a dragon means slightly, maybe, SKT with these sets of choices.
But this time, SKT have their win condition. They have a huge team fighting composition with Faker, a kill and 25 CSR. All of a sudden, they can start controlling around that mid lane. You see an effective turret swap right now. So they have at least got through this rough early game patch with a couple of good outplays that have kept them even for long enough.
Yeah, SKT being even is all they really need here at this point. As you mentioned, their late game's going to be great. After the Faker kill again, Xiaohu just low.
Yeah, Xiaohu at half health, and he's not able to get away from the Emperor's Divide, so really just not respecting Faker's close range right there. That's a time Xiaohu couldn't have been there.
That was... Oh,
yeah, right into Soraka silence, too.
Up. This is bad for him, and exhaust might not mean enough. Mata comes in for some stats, and it does mean Xiaohu barely lives.
So what I was going to say is that it was actually Xiaohu being aggressive, then I saw him do it again. Double distorting a minion wave against someone that can follow you, i.e. a Fizz, i.e. something like a Morgana, is actually really, really dangerous. So he's done it twice now in about 2 minutes, and that's not really great against Nazir.
Yeah, they're going to be losing this mid lane turret. So SKT playing around their advantage lane right there, but Looper trying to go for bang.
The risk of it means that Spell Shield and the Sivir ulti comes out, because the risk of a Flash Rune Prison would have been his death. So early Spell Shield, but it still might mean that turret, and it does. SKT 3 turrets to 1 now. They beat mid and that top lane.
Huge. They're getting the wave clear advantage with their 2 early picks there of Azir and Sivir. The Kalista, pre-Hurricane, and LeBlanc, who's disadvantaged in the lane, cannot keep up with this whatsoever. So definitely nice of SKT getting those ganks in to regain the pressure in some of these lanes, and now they're making their lead work.
Because, like, let's just state it. Looper's going to be more effective than Duke, probably, in these team fights. The Kindred is way over Elise in team fights. Their win conditions are around the Sivir and the Azir. So the fact that they are the 2 people ahead on SKT's side is massive. But the discrepancy on the other side of the map is equally as big for RNG. And the thing about early turrets is they should be equalized if you run double teleport. There should be situations in this game where RNG are able to open up that map and chip down turrets. So they have a gold lead now, and they need to start utilizing it.
I do say Xiaohu's getting pressured more on LeBlanc this game than I've seen him get pressured all tournament. He's been dominant against pretty much everyone. But a few mistakes against Faker, and also the fact that he's against Faker, who's having a much better Azir game than he did in the group stage. It's making him struggle.
A relevant stat for this, actually, I was told there have been 29 solo kills pre-15 in this tournament. This is the first time Faker's gotten one of them. Finally having a good early laning phase for himself, at MSI specifically. And Alexi looking for the flash up on the Blank. They really want to knock down this Elise, who flashes to the left-hand side toward Faker. Here comes Looper. Here comes the teleport from Duke. And it's going to be an assassination. MLXG goes down. Mata forced to be pulled back. Bang on the wings. Wolf near there as well. Attack on the side. A great knockback from Faker. Buys the time. A huge knockup as well. And they're going to start picking up kills. Bang gets one. A second as well as Whoosh goes down. Xiaohu forced to run away from Duke. Looper also falling. That is 4 kills for SKT with only 1 in return.
Blank going back in, the surprise damage on MLXG. MLXG can't get down his Kindred ultimate, then RNG's all-in style bites them right there, and SKT's very easily able to turn that fight around. Great fight for SKT, big lead in the early game.
They play towards the right side of the screen and then chase left. They actually had the team fight cut in two, but by overcommitting onto Faker's Azir, they open up the back end of that team fight for everyone else to collapse onto the carries. That's an overreach from RNG. We're not used to seeing this. Their teamfight execution is always crisp.
Yeah, and if we talk about the way SKT would win games versus the way RNG would win games, SKT will win when they punish RNG for overreaching. That's how they've been playing most of their plays, outside of a few early game successes they had here with the Faker solo kill and the Blank gank. That's more of the fight we'd expect SKT to win coming into the series. Bad recall spot.
MLXG spots him exhausted, gets away from the root flash to chase, and the Wolf takes him down. Team kill right there. Wolf kills Wolf. MLXG takes the jungle.
All right. This is something that SKT has done more in this tournament than I have ever seen in the past. Recalling in really silly situations. Faker's being caught out twice. Wolf there as well. Walk back deeper into your jungle. Or set down an aggressive ward as they walk over it. At least give yourself time to be able to back away.
Also, if I'm not mistaken, that was the ward that was teleported in on in the prior fight. So, like, Wolf knew he was very close to being in vision, if not completely in vision. Yeah, that is the ward that was still up from the prior fight where Wolf was recalling next to. But yeah, they teleport in. I guess they thought the teleport would zone off Wolf, but RNG could have followed up towards the tri-brush and executed that dive. Instead, they pull over to the left. MLXG gets bursted down, and then Matas still goes through, further committing onto Faker, allowing Bang and Wolf to just free hit from the backside.
And look at this. Xiaohu came from the right-hand side. Looper and Xiaohu can absolutely decimate Wolf and Bang in that 2v2. Yeah. But Xiaohu, little bit of miscommunication, overreaches to try and kill the Azir, and the pinch just doesn't work out.
They even could have teleported the same ward and just one-shot the backline by themselves. Pull a CLG-type move right there, top and mid coming up. Didn't happen there, and it's going to be SKT farther ahead now. Great pickup. Down goes the Rift Herald, given over to Blank. Still a sizable lead here, 3,000 up, fighting for the blue buff, and a big knockback on a 2. That's bad for MLXG. Pop slams just fight. Mata's going to come into this one as well, but Faker has so much time to deal the damage. A great tackle from Duke means a kill on the RNG jungler. Looper now running, slowed down by Wolf. The kill goes over to Blank, 2 for 0 with the blue steal.
And Faker's playing like a man possessed right now. These Azir initiations are incredible. We thought SKT was a little bit low on initiation, but Faker's just making it work. As soon as he sees a small opening with the numbers advantage, he's going for it. That was a fantastic Emperor's Divide and an even bigger advantage for SKT.
And you're behind RNG. Stop overreaching for little objectives. I mean, bleed dragons, give up a blue buff, but try and get pace of the game back by spreading people out, not letting this Sivir Azir, the team fighting prowess of the Poppy to come out. Instead, they just keep going for the fights, and Faker, as you said, he's just going in time and time again, gets a two-man scoop here, and Looper can never get into the fight.
Yeah, and it's into the Soraka silence, which is an amazing synergy that SKT's been able to pull off now. Both times they've played Soraka with Azir. And then at this point, Looper was just way in over his head and dies once again.
Quick reaction by Bang as well. Spell shields in case the skill would have landed. And beautiful stuff here. So, a highly paced game working well, and SKT trying to really turn this cruise here. Second item, Banner of Command coming out from Blank to try to keep the pressure on as fast as he can. The only wave that RNG can out and use is their jungler and AD carry. Now looking for more to do. Oh, that tackle lands on Amatsa. Nowhere for Braum to go. Oh, just kidding. Fate's called out, and he's going to be sent away. Whoosh is going to lose his life for this one. It saves Mata. What a nice AD carry supporting his support.
Yeah, good guy Whoosh there. Little bit on Banner that you were mentioning. Ryze, LeBlanc, the two people with teleport, there's no way you kill that minion. It lives forever. Kalista is way too short range. MLXG is way too short range as well.
Yeah, this is SKT snowballing this game in a very good fashion. I mean, the time of game for SKT on average was very long in the group stage, but that's because they lose slow. They win fast. So they're trying to do that right here.
And look at this. under 19 minutes onto the inhibitor already. It's at half health. They will get pushed out. And in fact, it's Xiaohu teleporting on the flank. This is a fight that RNG needs to win. The flash route gets on the Bang, who doesn't take any damage at all thanks to Wolf. Mata dies for it. Duke in the front line, tanky enough. Looper's dead as well. SKT will not be refrained, pushing forward. Emelec, she takes a heal from Woosh to run away faster, but now that's Woosh himself getting caught out. Lamb's bite gets him some health. Actually does nothing at all for RNG. It's a wasted ulti, and SKT inside the base, inhibitor dead before 20 minutes, and they're staying inside. It's 5 versus 3, a Nexus turret going down sub 20.
They have the Soraka push right now, so they can sustain through this, and they're just continually pushing them back in a base to buy time for the turret.
And the Sivir ulti to disengage. SKT don't bite off more than they can chew. What an immaculate push by them.
Yeah, perfect understanding. They know that Looper's not available. They have to make the play again. Here comes Looper.
Yeah, I mean, you either let SKT starve you out or you go for the big play.
You have to go right now.
But the big plays just haven't worked. He can't. The rest of his team isn't close enough behind SKT, and he's on a pink ward, so it would be suicide.
Unless they
maybe they're feeling like it.
Straggling out. Duke gets in a fog of war. Nice cocoon. Now Bangs in front, and this is the high spell shield. You can't even try for this one, Xiaohu.
Great. This is actually what you expect out of SKT. They just keep running. No one's lazy. No one recalls in a bad position this time. Everyone gets back. They're chasing them up a super creep wave as well. So SKT finally executing in the early game, and they just smash it.
That's the team that everyone predicted would be the #1 squad at this tournament, and SKT looks like this.
And look at it, it's an overreach one more time. Xiaohu goes for the teleport play, but there's an Azir turret that they should have known about, and Mata just keeps diving past. Once again, it's actually Duke with better teleport positioning this time, and Xiaohu doesn't hit anyone in this team fight.
And we got to see it a little bit here, but Soraka is also a great pick into Rise, because as soon as he goes to machine gun someone down, you can put the silence field directly on him and just completely stuff his damage. SKT playing this game extremely well after some early missteps, but what a performance it's been from about minute 6 till now.
And it's time for Baron as well. They are not letting up at all. SKT playing high-paced. MLXG is over the wall.
Smart.
It would have been stealable if he had Smite.
Maybe so. MLXG now has to run away from Faker, who wants it. Exhaust is on. And now the re-engage. Yeah, on towards Duke, forced a flash away from Baron. But MLXG is dead. His ulti wasn't available. And now the knockout for Duke to buy time for his team. Exhaust on the Looper. And that top laner might just die. He's limping away. The tackle from Duke nearly picks him off, but it's Mata stuck in the front line. Down goes Braum. 5 versus 3. The chase still on for SKT. They might get a blue buff, they might disengage, they might turn back for Baron.
Yeah, I mean, nobody died. I'm surprised they decided to continue the chase through instead of just turning immediately back onto Baron, but I don't think it'll matter at the end of the day. Azir Soraka able to just sustain back up and still kill the Baron at an alarmingly fast rate. SKT in absolute control of Game 2.
And once again, RNG, they can't even send anyone there. They've only got one Nexus turret left that had a super creep wave on there. I mean, they keep committing to that. SKT just win the game. So, you know, they give up the Baron buff, and they're 10,000 gold behind, and this is just all started because, you know, SKT, they're not willing to take the risk. They peel up. Faker goes and deals with MLXG, even though he doesn't have Smite, and everyone else just plays their role perfectly.
Get away from the Baron pit, wait for Faker to come back in. Buy time for Lupa to get re-engaged upon.
And this top lane Rise is being completely shut down. You saw when he tried to run in right there, the instant he tried to pop in for his spell combo, Soraka silence. He chased through. That's when SKT goes to layer their CC. So the Soraka was a pick that Wolf didn't have coming into this tournament, and Wolf actually isn't having the greatest of tournaments, but his Soraka play in this game in particular has been top-notch.
And here comes the rest of it. Into the mid lane they go. Bot lane inhibitor still dead. It died 3 minutes ago or so. The fastest we've ever seen a Nexus turret die happen as well earlier on. They're looking for number 2 here. Baron up, banner, cannon, minions still on the field. And let's see what's next for SKT. It's going to be the top lane. That wave was already well manicured thanks to Duke and the rest of his squad. And this will be inhibitor number 3.
Yeah. RNG isn't going to be lasting long here. This is going to be inhibitor number 3 with 5 people. And that's actually because no one can kill the banner minion. Going to be the end of the game.
In they go. MLXG low on health. Can't pop the Lambs, just fighting time. Down he goes. Great by Blank. And all the kills are coming through. 4 already. Make that 5. It's a slaughter. It's a beautiful win for Korea's SK Telecom T1 to tie up the series.
They smashed RNG in that game. That was absolute decimation of the Chinese squad.
Yeah. This is the fastest time someone has beaten RNG in with the 23-minute, 32-second victory. And also, it may have taken 12 games, but the SKT people expected to show to MSI are finally here.
They punish every mistake that RNG makes. The overreach is now no longer working. And you know, RNG got the early game they were looking for. 40 CS on their jungler, still 40 up on their top laner as well. And SKT were like, we don't care. We have Azir Sivir. Like, why would you give us this lineup?
Yeah, absolute decimation from SKT here. But this is the beauty that we keep coming back to of best of fives. RNG doesn't have to keep Maokai and Alistar bans because those are their champions just as much as they are SKT's champions. The complexion of the pick and ban phase can change drastically in Game 3. And after this result, it will.
This is going to be so much fun. They'll stay on the same sides, but seeing Faker play that well is going to be pretty heartening. Had a good Game 1, even though SKT lost. Had a great Game 2, and was one of the major reasons they won. And that is a full power SKT. If the games keep looking like that, it's scary.
The biggest thing, right, is winning a game 22 minutes. That's great. Unlocking the Azir pick that we thought he could not blind pick in the second rotation because of how good Xiaohu's LeBlanc is, even more valuable in a best-of-5 series, in my opinion, because it's not going to win you one game. It's going to win you the set if he keeps playing that way.
Because much like they baited the Poppy pick to go up against Trundle in Game 1, I almost feel like they were baiting the Azir pick with the first pick Ryze. Faker thinking, yeah, I'll play Azir into Ryze, no problem. Guess what? We're going to throw the Blanc at you. But he took it completely in stride, popped in the exhaust, solo killed him, and completely crushed the game. So Baker did not allow them to play that game.
And it was really good by SKT. Their pick ban phase did change. World did the same because they won. Why wouldn't you do the same plan here? But SKT changing it up, get rid of the Nidalee, wait on that Poppy pick. We understand there's this counter matchup thing going on here. Let's unlock the Azir for ourselves, and that went beautifully. So a good win for them. 1-1 this series. It's going to be probably continually amazing in the best of 5. And you know what? If the analysts are ready, we'd love to toss it to them to break that game down a little bit more. And when that does happen, we'll hear their thoughts. Looks like they're not ready, so we get to talk a bit more. That'll be great. No, it is.
Hey,
We are very ready for you.
I was about to signal just like
Yeah, they're right over there. No, we're very ready to talk about this game. Whoa, SKT. I mean, that was pretty fast. What happened there?
RNG went on vacation.
Ah,
Nice.
I wasn't even good.
All right, cool.